All right. I'd like to call the Township Council meeting, agenda and action meeting of December 12th, 2022 to order. Would everyone please stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please take a seat. Ms. Loeffel, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall.
Here. Here.
Councilman McAvoy.
Here.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Here.
Councilwoman Zembicki. Here. And Council President Wendell.
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen. Absent, Administrator Joseph Criscolo.
Here.
Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, and posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Our first item of business is Resolution 17554, a resolution adopting the meeting minutes of November 28th, 2022. Can I get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Councilwoman Sullivan. Second by Councilwoman Zembicki. Any discussion on these minutes? Yes.
I just have one thing. It was brought up at the Drug Alliance meeting that they thought that Vice President McAvoy was being negative towards them. The patch sort of put it that way, and I want it to be in the record that Mayor McAvoy was giving them kudos and was very happy that we were working towards everything that was in the resolution.
Thank you. Mr. McAvoy, do you want to?
News to me.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion on the meeting minutes? Seeing none. Ms. Loeffel, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki.
Yes.
And Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda was a proclamation honoring St. Bart's Buffaloes 12U football team for their undefeated season. They will not be here until a little bit later, so we're going to hold this, and we're going to move on to the rest of our agenda. And when they arrive, we will recognize them. So we're going to move on to our ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 22-29, an ordinance amending Chapter 228, zoning of the Township of East Brunswick, correcting the language on who is authorized to issue a fence permit in Chapter 228, Section 226, restriction on fences. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan. Anyone from public wishing to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Any discussion from council on this ordinance? Mr. Criscolo, you want to maybe?
Yeah, very quickly, the ordinance currently says the fence permit shall be issued by the Building Inspection Division. That's kind of an outdated terminology that we found in there. It should be the zoning officer or his or her designee. That's all. It's a simple change to take out that Building Inspection Division.
So it's under the same department, you know, planning, engineering, construction.
Clarity is always good in your ordinance.
Certainly, certainly. Any questions from council? Seeing none, Ms. Loeffel, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm jumping.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zembicki. Yes. And Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right. Ordinance 22-30, an ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, Section 83, Parking Utility of the revised general ordinances of the Township of East Brunswick.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bahal. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Seeing none, Mr. Sculo, will you want to just,
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Actually, I'll do that one, Joe. This parking utility? Yes?
Please mention the resolution, too.
Yes, so there are two parts to this action tonight. The first is a ordinance which would set hours of operation when facilities were open and closed, and who can participate, who can access the parking utility facilities. There's been some problems with property damage and vandalism, so we want to be able to post it for hours of operation and have some parts of it closed during the hours when it's not in use.
Does this refer to both parking
Yes.
utilities, or both parking facilities, rather?
Yes.
Okay.
Secondarily, there's a resolution authorizing the waiver of the 20-day waiting period. Ordinarily, you adopt an ordinance, there's a 20-day waiting period. Because there's been some very recent issues and there's some concerns about further property damage, the administration is asking the council to act on waiving that 20 days so that it will take effect immediately. Tomorrow, our Frank Cologne and folks from the PD will be able to have signs posted at the facility as to the operating hours.
And this council has the ability to waive that estoppel period?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for council or acting mayor, administrator? Yes.
If I may, Council President, Mr. Baker, that 20-day period is written, it's in black and white?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else? We opened it up to the public and closed to the public already. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky,
Yes.
and Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you.
We move on now to our next ordinance for second reading. Ordinance 22-31, an ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $260,000 for road improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick in the County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. Before we call the roll on this, or look for an adoption in a second, I'm going to ask Mr. Criscuolo to give a brief.
Yeah, this is just to finance the portion of Dunham's Corner Road, Fern Road, that we've done from approximately Dunham's Corner Road to the Islands Brook. If you remember, we got a grant from the state TTF fund for $475,575. So what we're doing is bonding it now, so we can go out to the bond market and pay, set the paper.
And that's for the other part of the road, finishing the other part of the road.
No, this is a supplemental bond ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
The part up near Fern and Cranberry, remember, that's a county project, Mr. Baker? So they'll be doing that. We'll be doing that in conjunction with the county. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion on ordinance 22-31?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance and this ordinance only? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, Ms. Lovell, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zimbicky,
Yes.
and Council President Wendell.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to our reports section. We can merge these two, mayor and administrator, because we have our acting mayor sitting here, who is our township administrator. Mr. Criscuolo,
Yeah,
maybe you can give us an enhanced report.
And I'll try to be as...
Or maybe a shorter one.
I'll try to be...
We're still waiting for St.
briefer.
Bart's Buffalo, so I'm not looking to rush this.
Brief. So on your agenda tonight is the standard budget transfers that we generally do in the fourth quarter of the year to true up the accounts. We will have additional budget transfers next Monday evening for the last council meeting of the year, including a bill list. So that will be there. And that requires a 2/3 vote of the full membership. Mr. Baker already spoke about the 17-558 waiving the estoppel period, so I won't need to speak on that. The other two there are just putting Hart's Lane into the redevelopment resolution, putting them in an area of need of redevelopment and instructing the planning board to go out and
Which was
create a
approved by
plan.
the planning board.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm on the planning board, so I assume people know that.
Yeah.
There's a couple items on the council agenda tonight that may have questions. One is the receiving of the grant from the state for $3 million, which we got from the state of New Jersey. This is basically to complete our package to the state, so we're saying to them, we're possibly doing the ice skating rink, and we would like this money if we do that later on. So it will complete our package to the state, and when and if we move forward on that project, we then can request payment for that $3 million. So that's the only other resolution I think may have caused any confusion. Also on there, you see that there's several trucks and so on that we were able to get out of this year's current fund. If you all know that some of these vehicles are taking 6 to 8 to 9 months to receive, and I really would ask you to approve these so we can at least get these orders in, so we have it for next snow season. I don't think we're going to get them for this year. We do have several vehicles that are probably well beyond their useful life, and it's time to put them to rest. That's all I have, Council President.
That was hard to get off the tongue. Thank you. Director of Law, anything?
Thank you, Council President. Just to add on to what Mr. Criscola said about the Hart's Lane items tonight, the next step after the planning board reviews and then recommends a redevelopment plan will be that plan comes back to the council. You have to adopt the resolution, 2 meetings, and then those property owners who wish to participate in the redevelopment program can come and be designated the redevelopers of their properties.
And just so everyone knows, these are the 2 additional salvage yards that were on Hart's Lane that were full of cars for many, many years that are now being redeveloped into something that is ideally not going to be an environmental hazard. And the planning board last month met with these property owners and designated these properties an area in need of redevelopment without condemnation. So, and the property owners are excited to be potentially involved in this situation. So we have buy-in from the property owners on these, and ideally we turn these into something that are far more lucrative for the township residents going forward. So thank you, Mr. Baker. Township Clerk?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Any council, committee, or board reports tonight? Anybody want? Yes.
I have one.
Councilwoman Zimpic.
So I'll take a little of your time, because I have a
Certainly.
long report.
We're waiting for the buffalo, so, I mean, we got
All right, well, then
we got
I'll
some
be
time.
helpful
Take your
today.
time.
So Recreations and Parks Advisory Board met on December 8th, and there's lots of information to report. So first of all, a huge thank you for the outstanding job for the Holiday Lights events. There was hundreds of people that were there that night. It was definitely the most attended since they started, in my opinion. And thank you to Vice President McAvoy for hosting the evening that night, and all the different events that they had, the fire pits, the crafts, the arts, the hot chocolate, the cookies, adorable balloon snowman that walked around, right? So it was a great event. Also, I'd like to thank the Arts Commission for assisting with the gingerbread distribution kits. Over 100 kits were donated by the East Brunswick Education Association, and people could purchase their own, and they're asked to submit pictures, and there will be a committee to judge the best kit for a lovely prize that will be given out next week. The scoreboard and bleachers will be set up at Heavenly Farms Field B soon as the weather permits for it to be done. So if the weather holds, sooner, if not, in the spring. Another awesome thing that's happening, 100 trees were recently planted on the right-of-ways around town. And actually, since 2020, over 500 trees have been planted by the Recreation and Parks Department in all of our right-of-way areas. So that's quite impressive. Tree City, right? Bicentennial Park basketball courts refurbishment could occur soon if the weather cooperates. Otherwise, it'll be in the spring. So that's an exciting piece that's coming up. The Public Works Department, a huge thank you to them. They've been assisting with leaf removal. So I know there was some commentary about it taking a long time, but it's a lot of leaves to remove. They've been assisting. They're doing a great job. They're getting around, and we want to thank everybody for their hard work. Mike Reisner wanted to be sure to compliment. We have 4 newer employees who have been hired this season in the Parks and Rec Department, and he is so thrilled with their, first of all, level of expertise. I mean, these people are coming with double master's degrees, teaching degrees, amazing. But their energy. They've brought so many new ideas into our Parks and Recreation, so thank you to them. The Department of Aging, how awesome is this? They're seeing about 115 seniors per day and new members daily, so that is completely awesome, so thank you so much. Another very important piece, the Department of Aging is looking for volunteers to deliver meals to seniors from 11:30 to 1. It's not a daily thing. You could even be a sub. So if people can't make it, if you're interested, please call 732-390-6809. Also, the Arts Commission sponsored the celebration tree, which is on display at the library. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a labor of love, truly, made from many, many, many granny squares. It's absolutely gorgeous. So if you haven't had a chance, please make sure you get out and take a look at that. The Daisy Tricky Tray is scheduled for April 21st, 2023. More information will be coming. Of course, looking for donations of, baskets and whatnot. So just mark that date on your calendar. Fast Break Buddy Ball, how wonderful is that, right? And we are in the need of pals. It's getting better. This week was better from what I understand from Howie Anderson. But if you can volunteer to be a pal, if you're interested, you can email commissioners@fastbreakbasketball.org. It really cannot be successful to the point that we want without enough pals. So if you have a little time, please consider donating that. It's Saturdays, so it's not a big give. The East Brunswick Chamber of Commerce is thriving with 221 members now, so that's amazing. And lastly, the Ice Arena Committee has been meeting regularly. It's comprised of volunteers representing figure skating, synchronous skating, hockey, and engineers, just to name a few. The final decision is in the works as to what the arena will look like, so we can move forward with the architectural plans and potentially, if approved, construction bids. So there's a whole lot of great things going on at Parks and Recreation, and I want to thank all of our employees in that department for their incredible dedication to our community and everything that, hey, they make our life fun. So thank you, thank you.
Councilwoman Zipik, thank you for that report.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have any reports? No? All right, we're going to move on to our public comment period. Ms. Loeffel, will you please read the statement?
Certainly. The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. The public may use this opportunity to question any item listed on the consent agenda and request that such item be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on separately. Only one member of the public should approach to speak to council at a time. The council will respect the public's time by refraining from any comment until the speaker has finished with their allotted time. It should be further noted that public comment portion of our meeting is not structured as a question and answer session. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond, or to ask administration to respond. If the questions require more detailed responses, the council president or administration may ask the member of the public to make an appointment with the appropriate township official during regular business hours. The township clerk will regulate the time during the comment portion of our meeting.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wishing to speak? Mr. Whitlock, come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
For the record, 694 Old Birch Turnpike, East Brunswick, New Jersey, 08816.
Thank you.
I would give you the dash at the end, but I don't remember that number. So first of all, I would like to congratulate Kevin McAvoy, Jim Wendell, Dana Zimbicki, Dana Winston on their win in November. This town is going to continue to make strides in the redevelopment category: education, historical preservation, recreation, transportation, and public safety. All because of the strength of our town council, county commissioners, county constitutional officers, and the work we do with our state and federal officials. Clerk Lawful, I want to commend you and your staff on how well you handled this election season. It was well maintained. Everybody from every party got along. We were able to have a cordial conversation. So not like reports I'm hearing from other towns.
Thank you.
And something for our business administrator, if somebody from the town could give the garbage men who pick up Old Bridge Turnpike a thank you note. They put a nice little Christmas card in the garbage can after they picked it up. So that really brightens district's 2 days. So, thank you.
How's your father?
How's my father? He's doing good.
Is he?
Everything's
home?
back to normal.
He's home?
He's home.
Good.
Good.
Good. Glad to hear that.
He wants to get out and around, but he knows he has to cut down on a few things now.
Good luck to him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Anyone else from the public? Yes, sir.
Hi. Most of you know me, Steve Weinberg, 2 Sycamore Street, that's right off of Timber Road, East Brunswick, New Jersey, 08816. Here tonight, I say I live at 2 Sycamore Street since the development was built in 1974. I'm here tonight for a special reason. I want to talk a little bit about the past before I go into the future. About 15 years ago, my neighbors and I partnered with East Brunswick Council and Mayor, Township Administrator, in what I believe was a unique quest, faced with an interstate pipeline company that wanted to increase their profits by saving money on pipeline inspections by viewing their pipeline from the air instead of on the ground. They told us they were cutting all the trees down on our street, Timber Road, in the right-of-way of the pipeline. East Brunswick Township became full partners with everybody in our neighborhood on our mutual quest to fight this absolutely unnecessary degradation of the township environment. We had a little motto: we went to court together to fight to keep trees on timber. Kind of cute. Really, the township stood stall with us. We stood with you. We were all together in this. We didn't win, but I was very proud. You know, at that time I'd been living in town for about 25 years, about 15 years ago. I was very proud that the township stepped up and really helped us. I felt really good about it, secure. Somebody had our backs. And I'm here today to talk about, sort of something similar but bigger, but it's because it's something that affects everybody in East Brunswick, not just the folks in my neighborhood. This is future-looking. We live on this little planet that we all live on together. I thought there might be a picture of it in the Township seal. We just, Sunday, I think, that the latest spaceship we sent up and around the moon came back. And that one of the things that you learn from something like that is that the moon's there, we're here, and then you think about we're going around the sun's going around the galaxy. We're all we've got. It's a little rock here, it's got some dirt on it, it's got a little bit of air around it, it's got some clouds, got some water, very little bit of water, really. And it kind of reminds me, I don't want you to panic here, but of the Titanic. We have this huge, there's 8 billion of us now, we've got this huge civilization we've built up, it's amazing, we've got computers, we've got the internet, we've got great medicine, artificial intelligence, if we keep it behaving itself. But we got to manage it. We have to manage it. It's not just something that's out there like nature that we can just live in and take advantage of. We have to manage it. I'll tell you a funny story. I was at a family gathering this weekend, and 2 of my cousins were in from New England. And how we got around to this subject, I don't know, but the East Brunswick Town Council came up. They were saying they live in a New England town of 20,000 people, about half the size, roughly, of East Brunswick, and they still govern the town with a town meeting that meets annually, goes on forever, and they said, we can't do this. I said, you're right. When a town gets to a certain size, it's got to have a good council, it's got to have a good representative government. You just can't have everybody making all the decisions. And I challenged that his son was a teenager, was interested in the discussion. You have to do a project to figure out at what size does a town have to switch over from that kind of government to a more representative government with a good council, leading the way. So it's the same kind of with our world. We have to manage it. And I think about like the Titanic. It was a beautiful ship, beautiful people. It was headed across the Atlantic Ocean. They were watching, they knew there were icebergs. They knew they had to watch for it. Didn't have the technology we had today. The icebergs were there. We're trying to manage the planet today. It's everybody, all 8 billion of us. There's some icebergs ahead of us. There really are some very dangerous icebergs ahead of us. One of them is the environment. What we're doing as 8 billion people living the way we live, it's okay, we got here because it was
1 minute
natural to get
remaining.
where we are, but we got to steer the ship. We've got to steer the ship like we had to try to steer away from the icebergs. Very slowly, little by little, is no dramatic answer. But right now, you're probably aware that, we've got to stop using fossil fuels. And right now, the company, like the company that was the pipeline company from 15 years ago, Competitive Power Ventures, wants to build another huge gas plant in the Keysby section on the Raritan River. Town council 15 years ago, I don't know if it was in your best interest, if you just felt bad for us over on Timber Road. You stood with us, you stood up, you went out of your comfort zone and helped us try to fight the trees. You can go over there on Timber Road today, one side of the street, it's all bare. I think companies have to go out of their comfort zone, which is making profits, and step up and do certain things for the benefit of this steering process to move things in the direction we kind of have to we really have to move in. We got to avoid the icebergs. So I'm asking council, here's the good people, I'm asking council to consider a resolution joining Edison, Highland Park, Hoboken, Perth Amboy, Franklin, Sayreville, Rahway, Somerset County. I'll leave these with you to see who's supported this. If we stand up We oppose this power plant, we can beat it. There's a couple of other big environmental projects that were going to be fossil fuel oriented that have been stopped. We're going to steer it, we're going to push it in the right direction. We're going to make, we're going to take a stand. And if, this isn't an East Brunswick issue, it's a world issue, really. It's certainly a New Jersey issue for the people living within 100 miles or so of this gas plant, this second gas plant in the same location. This flyer's got all the dirty details about all this crap that comes out of these plants and stuff. And Jersey has a bad reputation anyway for stuff like this. I'm asking you, I don't even know if has a resolution or a suggested form of a resolution been presented to council?
Not to date, and if you can share what you have with our township clerk.
Okay.
She will distribute
Happy
it
to
to
do
everyone
so.
on council.
Happy to
And
do
we will discuss that further going forward. Thank you, Mr. Weinberg.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion. We're going to move on, we're going to go back on
Council
our agenda.
President,
Yes.
we have a distinguished former township employee who
Yeah, I
raised
know.
his hand.
Oh, he wants to speak? Oh, come on up and speak. No, you
No.
first. You first. Come on. Haven't seen you in a few years. So, Mr. White, what brings you out here tonight?
And remember, there's a limit, Jim.
What, you have a seat? Now, if anyone doesn't know, Mr. White was our business administrator for,
Numerous years.
Back when they were cutting down the trees on Timber Road.
and he sends his students here from Rutgers on a regular basis
And they're very good.
to sit in our meetings and ask questions.
And they also confirmed that you remain their most sarcastic professor.
Some things never change.
So, Mr. White,
Good evening,
how are you?
unaccustomed as I am to public speaking. I'm coming here tonight because you've been seeing, over the years, dozens of my students. Mr. McAvoy has graciously come to one of my classes and was a guest speaker. Mr. Baker's never been invited, for obvious reasons. But I really came, and I shouldn't do this publicly, but I really came to thank you. Pains me as it is to say that. When you're sitting up
Sarcasm at its
there,
best.
and, you're the council person, your perspective is just here in the town where you work, and you really don't see a lot of other municipalities. Your attorney does every once in a while. The clerk may see other municipalities. But you don't get that perspective. The students have to come here as an assignment. I've been doing this for 12 years now, and they have to attend either a planning board meeting, zoning board meeting, or a council meeting. And they must get up and speak. They must ask a question. You would be surprised, and they have to write a paper on it, on their thoughts and impressions of the meeting, of all of you. I'm not going to let you read them. But you would be surprised, some of the things that they have to say, very insightful. You might also be surprised and amazed, because they're going all over the state, some of them going to Pennsylvania, some going to New York. It's some of the atmosphere in some of the other municipalities. So again, I shouldn't fill your heads, but you come across very well. Some of the things that they have said, someone who was here last year said, they were amazingly patient, far more patient than I ever would have been. I will not tell you the specific incident that was going on that night, but again, it had happened 10 or 12 years prior to that. I said, oh my God, that's still going on. Some of them, some other towns, again, you would be surprised, there was a council meeting when a couple of my students went, they wrote up their impressions, and they went to speak, and the mayor said, "There's no public portion this evening." And one of my students said, we thought there was at every meeting. And he said, "No, it's the prerogative of the chair." I made a quick phone call a couple of days later. I spoke to the township attorney in that city, who shall remain nameless, who said, "Yeah, I wasn't at that meeting." He said, "I'll make a couple calls. We'll try to make it right." Someone just attended a zoning board meeting about a month ago. Wrote up a nice paper. Somebody gave a presentation, wanted to do something on property. You're familiar with zoning boards. The zoning board said, "Thank you. We'll let you know what our decision is in a couple of weeks." They didn't give him any. I'm telling you a couple of these stories, and I've got dozens of others. You're a very well-run council, and that comes out in my students' impressions of you year after year, and you tend to take it for granted when you're sitting up there. I know you do. I did when I sat up there for 19 years. After a while, it becomes a rote function to you. But it isn't to a lot of these people. I'm not counting the people who come to all the meetings. But it is a true outsider's view that they write up when they give me their papers, and you would be surprised at some of the insight. And in this case, you come off very well, so I wanted to thank you for your kindness. It isn't in every city of the other 564 municipalities in New Jersey. So you will see them. Tonight was my last class for the semester. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have to go home and grade papers.
Mr. White,
So thank
I
you.
just want to thank you for your time that you spent serving the residents of East Brunswick. I'd like to thank you for the insight that you have given me in all the time that I've sat up here, because you have truly been that moderator, that person who is the go-between between us up here on council and the residents, and you've done a tremendous job, and I wouldn't be the council person I am today without the insight from you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The other thing that I impress upon the students, I tell them the first day, is I have an ulterior motive for teaching the class. It's to get them out and to see what real life is, not just some of their other classes. And they don't know about this. And many of them have now chosen a career path in government, and I tell them, do it. Planning boards, zoning boards, all of these committees are always looking for people. And I urge them to get involved, because that's what we need. So thank you.
By the way, is that a Jerry Garcia tie?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Just had to ask.
From 1985.
Hey, you know, I'm
Still
retired.
works. It still works.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Jim.
Thanks.
Thank you.
For coming down.
All right. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public portion. We're going to actually go back to an item on our agenda that was earlier, proclamation honoring the St. Bart's Buffaloes 12U football team for their undefeated season this year. So get them all to come up here.
No, just turn it around so you face the citizens. And Anthony says the camera takes 15 pounds off instead of 10.
Hey, guys, if you don't want to come up here and stand behind me, you know, so we can get some photos, you know, because the camera's up there.
Got it off.
Hold that up high. What's going on, man? Hey, Chad, come over here. Don't go away. Hey, how you doing?
You doing good?
Chad, right here. Tonight we have a proclamation honoring the St. Bart's Buffaloes 12U football team. This is especially important to me because I have been a St. Bart's Buffalo. I played as the St. Bart's Buffalo. I served as the president of the St. Bart's Buffaloes for many, many years, and I turned over the presidency to Chad last year, who's been a tremendous football coach. But this year, that 12U football team that Chad coached, along with his other coaches here, they were an undefeated team. And they played the entire season without getting beaten. They actually sent 3 of their players to the National All-Star game, who came home and as national champions. So I think that's just a tremendous achievement. They actually just came home yesterday? Saturday afternoon, after winning a national championship last week. So it's tremendous. So I'm going to read this proclamation, which we have a bunch, one for everybody, ideally, on the team. I've got a stack of them here. It's a proclamation for the St. Bart's Buffaloes 12U football team. Whereas the St. Bart's Buffaloes 12U football team finished the 2022 season undefeated and captured the title of 12U NJAYF Jersey Shore B Division champions, conference champions, and whereas on October 30th, 2022, the St. Bart's 12U football team traveled to Bayville, New Jersey to play the Berkeley Golden Eagles, I'm sorry. The final score of the game was 27-7 against the previously undefeated Eagles, who had not given up a score all season. And whereas the type of competition provides an opportunity for our youth to learn meaning of team spirit and the value of hard work, dedication, and self-sacrifice. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of East Brunswick, along with the Township Council, do hereby congratulate the St. Bart's Buffaloes 12U football team and their coaches on their success and look forward to next season. I am not going to read all these names. Chad, you can read these names because I will ideally pronounce some of them incorrectly. So please read the names and recognize your players.
Thank you, Jim. It's an honor to take over the St. Bart's Buffaloes from you and also coach our 12U team. Just so we know, a lot of these boys had an option this year on where to play, and they chose to stay with the Buffaloes as an undefeated season. And I commend all you guys for sticking with us. There was a choice, not a choice in my eyes, but a choice. Good job, boys. So, I didn't get a chance to go over all the kids at our last party. I won't drag this on, I'll just say their names. And I'll highlight, just so we know, a few kids aren't here tonight. They're at basketball practice at Churchill. It was supposed to be 6 to 8. It's now at 7 to 9, so they can't make it. One of them is my son, but he's okay. He's got. Jim, I'll show you this. This is what he wanted to show you tonight. This is what he came home with.
Look at that. Look at that. Wow.
12, there's one behind us.
Very
So
nice.
first up, Mr. Cole Sternleaf, number 1. Number 2, Gavin Flynn. Tristan Harvey, number 4, is at basketball practice this evening. JJ Clayton. Hussein Chitawala. Malcolm Ballard. George Quills. Another one at basketball practice, Justin Lee. Chris Crowley. Aiden Briggs. Cole Sealer. Thomas Mazzano. guys, from now on, treat this like book check. Come up, look the man in the eye, and shake his hand. All right? Yeah.
And make sure you turn your jerseys in at the end of the season.
Yeah. Dominic Rodriguez. Another one at basketball practice, Devin Love. Brandon Adams. Oscar Pena.
You all got a good handshake.
Yep.
I like that.
That's Coach Garbolino. He's not with Jake Ruggiero. Matthew Thomas.
Glasses?
Emmanuel Manning.
Oh, that's a good handshake.
Nathan Zakarzeski. Kadir Franklin. Greg Hoyt. Kelly Snodgrass. Hayden Metz. Kyle James at baseball practice this evening. Ezra Franklin. Spencer Tanasi. Anthony Billings. Coaches too? Yep. All right. For our coaches, Mike Ruggiero. Hash Chitawala. Coach Jeff's a little under the weather. Coach Anthony Billings.
I've known AJ for, what, 30 years? 30 years? More than that.
Andre Love.
Anthony, as well as I, played for the Buffaloes.
Tino Abate. And me.
Me. I'd just like to ask you to speak a little bit about the three All-Stars.
So, first of all, I am proud of this team, completely. We had some local All-Stars on our team, but all these kids are All-Stars. They played fantastic throughout the season. They did whatever we asked them to do. It's a long season of football. We start July 25th. Our season ended just before Halloween for the playoffs. And,
5 nights a week.
Yeah, 4 or 5 nights a week. At the end of the season, some of our players, after we whooped up on Berkeley, who thought they were going to beat us, they were chosen to play on the AYF National All-Star team. They tried in September. We actually had 4 kids make it. One kid decided that he's a basketball player, so he's concentrating on basketball. The 3 that made the team were defensive back Devin Love, who had an interception in Game 2 down there. My son, Cole Sealer, is quarterback for the All-Star team at 12U from New Jersey. Completed about 65% of his passes and 3 touchdowns in Florida, and proved to me, his dad, that he's better than I thought he was. So that's good. Lastly, we have also Cole Sternlieb, a running back. I think he had 11 touchdowns there and was named MVP of the 12U All-Stars in Florida. Representing the St. Bart's Buffaloes. It's an honor for our program to have these kids go down there and show what they think of a small program in East Brunswick can do. Some of the teams that we were with down there are these huge programs that we compete during the season. These kids became friends down there. It was great. Also, just so we know, I think it was 4 years ago, our 12U team was here previously with Vito Tropiano. 4 years later, we're here in this room right now, is our 8U coach, Rich Flynn. 4 more years from now, I better be here with you. Yeah, no pressure there. That's the plan. Every 4 years, we'll have a team to win all. To the council and everybody here, and the mayor who's not with us this evening, thank you very much. Thank you to the board, St. Bart's, the people that are here and not here, especially, Dave Lonsky would have loved to be here today, but he has a family obligation today. I want to thank him, all the parents, and let's roll it back next year. I want to be here again next year, guys. So it's not a one-year thing for us. Roll it back to 14 years.
Thank you.
Now you can go in the hallway and we can leave.
Very nice.
This is the sheet that maybe not be a savior.
Yeah, I don't know if they, I don't think they, like, want.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah. It's a big piece of hardware there, right? Yeah.
That looks like the high school truck.
It seemed like yesterday my kids played.
All right, we want to move on. We're going to move on to our consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone
Do the
wants
resolutions
separate?
first.
Excuse me?
The resolutions have to go separate.
Flying separate vote?
Which ones?
You said a consent agenda, so,
Oh,
not consent.
oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. We have resolutions requiring a separate vote. We have Resolution 17555, a resolution authorizing a budget transfer in accordance with NJSA 40A:4-58. We need a two-thirds vote on this. Anyone, can we get a motion to adopt?
So move.
Thank you. Councilman Bahal, can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Any discussion on this? This is something we do annually, but, yeah, Councilman McAvoy.
On the document that's more clarifying with regard to Resolution 17555, and I understand everything except for, Mr. Priscilla, maybe you can define this for us. Other expenses of $200,000.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, a lot of our vehicles are well beyond their useful life, so it takes a lot of repairs. So sometimes we send those vehicles out to facilities to get fixed or repaired. It's just part of the operation when you need to do that. So as you all know, price of parts has gone up tremendously, the price of labor has gone up, and so on. And we were fortunate that we had money in another budget line item that we could utilize in order to keep our fleet up to date. So it's just the nature of budgeting. Last year when we were doing this at this particular time of the year, we thought we'd be okay. And as the year rolled on, we found out that there was a lot more repairs necessary, and naturally the price of parts is always a big issue. A lot of the vehicles, and hats off, as Councilwoman Zembecki said before, hats off to our ladies and men that work down in DPW and keep that fleet operational. All the police cars, all the recreation vehicles, the snow plows, the leaf collectors, the Vector. I mean, these men and women are truly dedicated to the township and keeping the fleet operational. And naturally, everybody gets to be a lot more appreciative of them when they're out plowing snow. But this council's always been supportive of keeping those vehicles up to date and supported buying new vehicles, and it's just the nature of the business. So that was one of the transfers that was necessary in order to keep our fleet current.
Thank you, Mr. Piscopo. And when you maintain a fleet the size of ours, you need to...
It's quite large.
Continually do this, and it continually changes, from quarter to quarter, what is necessary and what is needed. So, to keep the employees as fruitful as they may be. So, any other questions on this resolution? Seeing none? Can I get a motion? We have a motion in a second? Oh, please call the roll then.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next resolution is Resolution 17556, a resolution for the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, and State of New Jersey, delineating certain areas in the Township of East Brunswick as areas in need of redevelopment. And these are the two properties that weren't delineated several years ago on Harts Lane that the planning board deemed in need of redevelopment at a planning board meeting, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that?
Yeah.
So, can we get a motion on this?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan. Can we get a second?
Second?
All right. Any discussion from council on this? These are areas in need of redevelopment without condemnation. No discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to Resolution 17557, a resolution of the Township of East Brunswick directing the East Brunswick Planning Board to prepare a redevelopment plan for Harts Lane redevelopment project, Block 31, lots 2.058, 2.07, and 3.02. These are the same properties that we just voted on previously. Can we get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan. Can we get a second?
Second?
Second by Councilwoman Zambicki. Any discussion? Seeing none? Ms. Lovell, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution 17558, resolution approving and authorizing a waiver of the period of estoppel pursuant to NJSA 40:69A-181, regulating ordinance 22-30, amending Chapter 3, Administration of Government, Section 83, Parking Utility of the revised general ordinances of the Township of East Brunswick. Mr. Baker, can you just give us a little...
Sure.
We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, talked about it earlier. Because of the concerns for vandalism and property damage over the parking decks, we believe it's important to have the ordinance that was just approved take effect immediately rather than waiting 20 days. And this resolution allows that to happen.
This does not necessarily allow someone from appealing the ordinance.
People can still file the appeal, but
Okay.
it becomes effective.
But we can allow, we can necessarily effectuate it tomorrow or the next day.
Correct.
But should it be appealed, we would have to.
Well, if they're successful.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm saying. We're not limiting any residents' rights.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to confirm that. Can we get a motion on Resolution 17558?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Sullivan. Can we get a second? Second by Councilman Bahal. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're moving on to our consent agenda. We have Resolution 17559 through 17572. Does anyone want anything separated?
17,560.
17562.
560.
Oh, 560, I'm sorry. Anything else?
Yes.
Yes.
17,559?
559. Okay. Is that it? Okay, so can I get a motion for Resolution 17561 through 17572?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Council Vice President McAvoy. Please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now we have Resolutions 17559, a resolution establishing a lien on properties in accordance with the Property Maintenance Code. Can we get a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Sullivan. Discussion?
Just a question.
Yeah.
I know we had some concerns earlier with property maintenance. When this was an issue from June 16th, it was addressed, and then did the property owners rectify it? Have we had to go back and forth with this? I'm just curious where we stand, because it's a property maintenance that happened in June.
This is in regard to grass cutting. So that's one item that if they get the notice to abate and we allow them their 14 days and they don't go ahead and do it, the grass cutting is one of the items that we can then either have our crews go out, we outsource it to a landscaping firm, we call them and they come and they cut the grass. But in order to get it onto this list, we have to get the invoice from them. And unfortunately, sometimes we're chasing the contractors around because they're used to doing regular billing, like my guy that cuts my grass, he's used to sending me a bill every week. So, we're trying to clean up with the end of the year stuff and we get all caught
Gotcha.
up. But this was specifically for grass cutting.
Okay, that's,
Now, some of the other property maintenance issues that we've discussed in this meeting and people that concern are still in the court system.
okay.
Okay? There's a couple of the houses, one of the houses that's up in foreclosure process, and I understand on January 8th is their last bite of the apple. There's another one that actually is in attorney review for sale, and the last one that off the top of my head is still doing repairs to the house, including putting stairways down, replacing sliding glass doors. They've cleaned the property, they fixed the sidewalk. So it's an ongoing process, and every time we go to court, the judge is saying, you're making progress towards the end, so we'll give you a little bit more time to do it. And as you know, getting contractors is a little bit difficult at this time.
So that's
But,
good news.
yeah, we're moving forward, we're keeping that ball rolling as best we can, and meeting the needs of the court. So we are bound to the judge's decisions. So,
Perfect.
it's okay?
Thank you. All right, any other discussion from council? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
And Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes. Now we have Resolution 17560, resolution of the Township of East Brunswick authorizing the submission of a legislative grant application to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for grant fiscal year 2023. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, Jeff spoke on it a little bit earlier. One might ask, well, the council hasn't yet approved going ahead with the ice rink. Why are we applying for this grant? It's a timing issue. You likely will be deciding in the next few months to move ahead with, or not, with the ice skating rink and recreation facility, but the time to apply for this grant application is now. It goes through a legislative process. The process will be done by June, and if we don't apply now, you'll lose the opportunity, and a grant that comes in a year and a half from now does not help you like a grant that comes in now. If you decide not to go ahead with the project, the state's not going to give you the money. If you start and then stop, the state will ask for it back. There's really no downside to making this application. You can't make an application for just, give me $3 million, I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it later. You have to apply for a specific project, and that's why this is on the agenda at this time.
And to that point, this is just the approval of an application.
Correct.
This is not the approval of receiving funds or anything else of that nature.
But there are many steps before any of that happens.
The money's been appropriated in the state budget. Now we have to apply, as Mr. Baker
You have to
said.
ask for it.
Right. We have to apply for our share, potentially.
That is correct, sir.
You know. So, can I get a motion for 17560?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Bahal. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman, Council Vice President chimed in a little quicker. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman McAvoy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sullivan?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
Yes.
And Council President Wendell?
Yes.
Thank you all.
All right. Seeing that we have nothing, no ordinances, nothing else, we're going to move on to the good of the cause. Anyone have anything for the good of the cause? Council Vice President, go right ahead.
Thank you, Council President. Last week, we had our celebration of lights. The weather cooperated, 200-plus residents and children. It was a wonderful evening. Mr. Crisculo, I want to thank you for the work you did to make the celebration one to remember, because when I was watching the EBTV rebroadcast of the evening, I noticed that I had left you out regarding my thank yous, and your involvement needs to be recognized. So thank you.
Never a bother, sir.
East Brunswick High School hockey team, in cooperation with the South River and Spotswood kids, began their inaugural season with a game yesterday. Congratulations to our new Bear hockey skaters, icers, sheeters, whatever that terminology is, right? And Santa Claus is coming to town. This Saturday, Independent Fire and Old Bridge Fire will start around 10 a.m. Listen for the sirens, and they will be driving through your neighborhood. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Anyone else for the good of the cause?
Happy Hanukkah to everyone who's celebrating.
There you go. There you go. When does Hanukkah start, actually?
Starts next Sunday.
Next Sunday. Great. I have nothing, so with nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved by Councilwoman Sullivan. Can we get a second?
Second.
Second by Council, I'm going to him all the time. All in favor, signify by saying aye. 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 Good night. We're out.